Hello Gotchi Gang, my name is Seb. Just a quick little update as this is day 2 of the land auction for Aavegotchi. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of tips and just show you how you can work out what the floor price is and compare this to some other NFT projects that offer land. So first thing, just a bit of an overview. If you haven't gotten yet, then at this stage, you're probably not going to be able to make a lot of ghosts, if any. You can see this here, total payouts 2.11 ghosts with this particular wallet address. And then there's 3 open bids. At this stage, it's more about working out what you want to buy and putting on maybe some floor bids. So we'll just quickly zoom in on this parcel here. Now, essentially, people have kind of speculated that something that's close to a main road, this is going to be more valuable than, say, this one. Now, that may not necessarily be represented in the bidding because people are just speculating on that, but it does make a bit of sense. Nevertheless, so when you put on your bids on whatever you're after, in whatever district you're after, and in particular with the DeFi Alpha gang, our guild, you are welcome to buy whatever you want. We haven't organized ourselves into, different segments. We do have a very large land base in 15, at least relative to a number of members that we have. And so anything that I'm buying here, it would just be purely just to teleport to and just to farm. Nothing strategic on this side, but entirely up to you. Also remember, if you do have a little bit of capital that you're willing to spend, it is a good idea to try and maybe buy in a bit of a section. So if you wanted to outlay for 2 spaces, you may want to get, say, this one and then this one right next to it. That way, when it comes to building walls, you can go right around the outside as opposed to 2 little squares, like that square and then that square. So you may want to factor that in. You may want like one big plot. Now that's I've been told that by Jesse. However, all this is new and it's kind of not necessarily set in stone. But I certainly would imagine that if you owned all the parcels, there's no reason why that road would have to exist. You could definitely block it off because it's your business. Anyway, so let's work out once you put on the bids where you'll see them. Click on bids. And this is what you'll see. Make sure when you're using the filters that you're being correct. I've made a couple of mistakes by thinking I was bidding on spacious, and I ended up bidding on reasonables. I think just early on the UI wasn't showing me everything, and nevertheless, that's a mistake I'll have to deal with. These are the 3 bids that are on for this account, and this is kind of where I think the floor is going to be, and maybe a little bit higher. What I initially said in my original video was the floor was going to be lower, but that was just to get you in a strategy so that you didn't overbid. Now let's have a look at a good application that will help you work out what the floor is. So you can put in any token ID here and it will allow you to jump with this hyperlink here and it will tell you what the bids are and who has it. So that's really damn cool. But coming down here, we can also click on like humble. It will show us the floor price is 88 ghosts. Reasonable 180 ghosts. It's going to go a lot higher than that. Well, not a lot higher. I would say it's probably going to be a 200 ghost, maybe a little bit more. And spacious 1,000. Once again, I feel 1,000 ghosts is too low. 1,100 to 1,200 probably more realistic, but none of that's financial advice. Anyway, just a little bit of comparison to other different NFT projects that are kind of building. This is NFT World, something that the co-founder of DeFi Alpha Guild, Jerry, is super bullish on. Not as much as Aavegotchi. We are certainly Aavegotchi bulls the most. But this basically integrates with Minecraft, or at least they're building that. And if you have a look, there aren't as many plots, of course, but you're looking at 0.66 ETH. So, around 2,800 US dollars, maybe a little bit less, depending on the price of ETH, which is pretty damn expensive, right? Sandbox is a bit crazy. Like this is a pretty cool little thing out there in the world. But land, it started off really, really low and now it's just pure speculation. We're looking at floor prices of 3.28 ETH and there's quite a bit of land. There's 166,000. Now, obviously you'll be able to have different apps and stuff and different games in the sandbox. However, there's no reason why Aavegotchi doesn't have that as well. They all have the ability, they'll all have the ability to have dApps and they ship exceptionally fast. So I see a future where the Aavegotchi team over here, they have like 100 plus devs building a game at least. And Sandbox and whatnot, they're still going to grow. And I still, think it's a cool project. But yeah, what you can do in the Sandbox, you'll probably be able to do in Aavegotchi. Then we have Decentraland. The floor price is 3.4 ETH. The issue with this is there's so much land you can't do anything with it until you've actually hired a developer to build. And then even though there's people coming in, like there's no play to earn aspect. It's not, I mean, it will grow to be something pretty epic for sure. But at the moment, it requires tooling and it's challenging and, it's behind. Like at this stage, we're really after a first mover advantage. Then there's Embersword Land. Embersword is a game I follow. Them moving from Polygon to Immutable X. And I haven't been following them as religiously as I should. Aavegotchi is my number one bullish play. And then I think Embersword is, second or third maybe. The price is 0.17 ETH. It's like $722 for the smallest bit of land, which is pretty pricey. I mean, right now you can just go and buy a bit of land in Aavegotchi for $250, so you can get almost 3 of these. Then we have Axie Infinity. I do have investments in this game, and anyone that plays Axie or likes Axie, brilliant. I find it doesn't really give me much satisfaction. It's kind of really hard to learn, and I have no land. But this kind of land is just silly, in my opinion. They want an inclusive kind of society, and the land's just so expensive. Nevertheless, $16,000. This is what people are selling it for, which is something to bear in mind. Essentially, this game is going to take off big time, and if I could afford it, or if you could afford it, not financial advice, but I would try and work out getting one spacious. If you can, make that kind of 1,000, 1,100 kind of bid. Make sure, as I said, you're using this filter. You could just to quickly show you can go in, select if you want to use reasonable, and toggle them off. It's not loading for me now. Okay, well, that should be loading. Let's do it with no, okay. Basically, when we go in here, we can sort it by cheapest, and then you can go and work out what you want. Or, as I mentioned, you can use the React app. Anyway, what I'm basically suggesting is, not suggesting, but what I personally would like is a spacious land, ideally. Something like that, and maybe a couple of reasonables. And if my ghost allocation or portfolio was low, maybe just a humble or two. Remember to look at the bazaar. There might be something you like on the bazaar. So we have got the floor price is 105 for humble parcels, 210 for reasonable, and 1,279 for spacious. So I don't know, you could probably assume with more supply coming onto the market that this would be around this, maybe a little bit lower. But we still have 36 hours left. If the ghost price continues to go down, then the ghost value, like the number of ghosts it's going to cost to get one of these, will go up. So just keep all of that in mind. Anyway, that's just a bit of a brief update. I haven't edited this, I'm afraid, but I just want to get it out pretty quickly. Yeah, I'll link this below. It's absolutely brilliant. And it allows you to also see quite a few results for the lowest floor price bits of land. So you can go through, and probably if you're fast reader, take like a minute or 2 minutes and just work out if there's something a name that really kind of screams, yes, I want that. Like blockchain blocks bringing, maybe you like that and it's like freaking cool. Friends pool name, you can read too, so I'm not going to go read them off, but reached Royale's socializing. That's pretty cool. Shit posting go number. Anyway, the other thing is, remember at the end of the auction, we have hammer time. So if we were to just go and pretend to bid on something. So let's say we didn't own this and we needed to up the bid. It'd probably be a good idea, an hour beforehand to go and don't put in the minimum. So if this would be the floor price, 210, you might want to go 220. And that way it's not going to come up when people are filtering as the cheapest. Maybe 225, you know, it's an extra $45 or thereabouts. And it's going to work out better, because if it goes into hammer time, like if someone puts a bid on this in the last 30 minutes, then it extends the auction by 30 minutes. And what we saw last time was people that just got in late and forgot to check on their bids. They all of a sudden they want something and they kind of bid it up. And that also means that if the floor does move up, like if all of these, because it's what's called a thin floor. So, you know, there's less than 10 parcels of land that are sold at the moment, or being sold at this price or less, or maybe 20 parcels. So if someone comes and bids all those and buys them all, then all of a sudden it can just, you know, keep on escalating the price. Anyway, I've been rambling for too long. Thanks very much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and for more DeFi Alpha news, jump into our Discord. Link is below. Cheers.